Hello everybody and welcome back to Fifield Junction, and once again we've got another logo here yet again for us to look at. And as we can see, it's a Hornby model today. I think it's been quite a while since I've looked at a Hornby logo, so it'd be quite nice to have a look at one. It's been quite a while, I'm pretty sure, since I've looked at one. And as we can see, we've got a class 31 for us today. This would be quite nice for me. I've never looked at a 31 before. I've never actually owned a 31 before, let alone a premium Hornby one. So it'd be very interesting to see what this model is like, and I suppose it'd be quite interesting to see what it would be like to have a 31 in the collection. As you can see, this particular one is 31452, and it is in the quite interesting, quite nice DCR livery. And as you can see there, it says British American Railway Services. So a very striking livery. I'm pretty sure this was the only 31, well I suppose is the only 31 to carry this livery, because this particular one does still exist. So the class 31s in real life, 263 of them were built, and this particular one I believe was released from the builder's shop, I believe on the 27th of July 1961. So that's when this particular loco entered service, and it was named Minotaur, I believe. I'm not sure what number it carried at the time it was released. At the time it would have been D5 something probably, or whatever, I think something like that I believe. And this particular one does still exist. I can't quite remember where it is, but this particular one is still around. There's not many 31s still around today, I believe. There's only a few around. I believe there might be one or two owned by rail tour companies. I know there's a BR Blue one owned by a rail tour company somewhere that's still running. There's obviously this one, which is somewhere in the country. Again, I'm not sure where it is. And there might be a few more here and there, I'm not too sure. But overall, it's a very nice model. I can't fault it, to be honest. This particular model does look very good. I've only had a very brief look at it. It hasn't been out of the box properly yet, so it'd be very interesting to see what it's like. This model is second-hand, it's not brand new, but hopefully that should be fine. As you can see, the box is a little bit worse for wear in some places, but hopefully that shouldn't affect the model too much. I will give her a running in session, just to get her used to running again. So I'm not sure how long it's been since this loco has actually ran, so I'll probably give her about 20 minutes in each direction just to make sure that everything's still working fine, get some oil around all the moving parts, and to make sure that she's still in a very good condition. So if we look at the end of the box, we can see the model code is R3262, and it's a DCR A1A. So basically that means the very two outermost axles on the bogies are driven and the centre ones are not, and that is how they are in real life, and I believe it's the same on the model, but we'll find that out in a second once we open the box. Diesel electric locomotive, class 31, and it's 31452. She's DCC ready, which is very, very good. I've got a decoder on the way for her. I do have a spare decoder at the moment. However, that particular one is for a different loco. The decoder for this particular loco is currently in the post on the way, and hopefully it'll be here tomorrow, but we'll see about that. So we will be running her on DC for the moment, while running her in anyway. Once we get her on the track, that'll probably be part 2. I'll probably do this review in 2 parts, like I do with some of my reviews. And in part 2, we'll fit the decoder to her, and we'll see what she's like on DCC. But anyway, let's get her out of the box and have a look what she's like. Well, actually, hold on. We'll have a look on the back of the box quickly, so we can see there, class 31. Now, it says RA5 there. If you know what that means, then let me know, because I'm not too sure what that means, to be honest. I'm guessing 5 is the power rating, so basically how strong they are, and 5 is very good. It's the same as the Black 5 and other locos like that, so not too bad. And then we've got the history on the loco there. And as we can see there, like I mentioned earlier, we can see 27th of July 1961 is when this particular loco rolled out of the works where it was built. This one was built, I'm not too sure. But as we can see there as well, there we go, 263 of them were built as well. So if you want to read any more of that information, then feel free to. But anyway, now let's actually get her out of the box and see what she's like. So overall, it's very good packaging. We're used to this sort of packaging by now. Typical block of ice packaging. So if we just cut the logo out, put that there. And if we have a very quick look at the instructions, because obviously these are very important. If you're not very familiar with your locos, I do recommend you look through these. Ooh, come on, it's being a bit awkward. go. So you can see there, Class 31 A1A diesel electric locomotive, DCC ready, DCC fitted or sound. You can buy these particular locos with sound. As for these newer versions, I'm not too sure, but I know there's an older version. I believe it's in one of the rail freight sector liveries. It might be the metal sector or something. I know that there's a factory sound version of that. It's quite an old model. It's not a very recent one, but I'm pretty sure that has factory sounds. However, I think one of the things that you have to be careful with these Class 31s, especially the older versions, I believe it's mainly the older versions. I don't know how many of the newer versions suffer from it, but I'm pretty sure the Class 31s by Hornby, they can be common sufferers of Mazak rot. If you're not sure what Mazak rot is, there are some other videos out there that explain it. But basically, if your loco gets Mazak rot, basically the only destination for it really is the bin. Well, the chassis anyway. You can salvage what you can from it. But if a loco is suffering from Mazak rot, you will notice that maybe sections of the chassis might start to crack or pit, or you might start to see pitting, or you might end up getting damage on the body where the chassis is expanding and stuff like that, or you might get running issues. There are several, I suppose, symptoms of Mazak rot, and if one of your locos has it, then unfortunately there's nothing you can do really apart from scrap the loco for parts. Really, there's nothing else you can really do. So that's I thought I might as well just mention that. But anyway, back to the instructions. It's the typical sort of stuff. We're quite used to this by now. Body removal is 4 screws, and then the body should just lift off by the looks of it. There is a detailing pack, as we can see just there. And then we've got wedge lubricator, again only very small amounts of oil, so we can see on the axles and also in the worm gears. Depending how well she runs during the running in, I might put some oil on the bearings and stuff, but I'll see about that. And then we've got sound and DCC ready. So as you can see, any factory sound models will, well, with factory DCC sound, TTS sound will be 8-pin. If it's factory regular proper DCC sound, it'll be a 21-pin decoder. But again, I'm pretty sure Hornby haven't done any factory sound models of the Class 31, or recent versions anyway. And then we can see there, if she's DCC ready, there's a nice 8-pin socket there for us to fit an 8-pin decoder. So that's all good. But anyway, if we put the instructions to one side, we can now slide off this sleeve here, and then we can see we've got the accessories there. So let's try and spread them out a bit. So we've got a couple of couplings. I've got some NEM pockets there as well. We've got some vacuum tubing and some electrical cables and stuff like that, and some other bits. So that's nice. I'm not going to fit them anytime soon. It might be some point in the future, but I don't really fit most of any of my detailing packs or any of my locos really. But if we try and gently lift this up, oh, there we go, a little bit tough. Move that bit of plastic. And if we lift the loco out, nice and gently, put it to one side. And if we put the packaging to one side for now, and we can deal with that later. There we go, a little bit tough, but there we go. Now, we grab the loco. Now it does look like we've got a little bit of damage there to one of the cables. That's a shame, but I'm sure I can probably fix that. I might just take it off, to be honest. But if we ignore that for the moment, you can see how nice this model is. It's absolutely fantastic. So let's do the usual, sprung buffers. Yes, she does. Yes, she does have sprung buffers. Is she quite heavy? Yes, plenty of weight. Does she have working lights? Yes, she does. This model does have working lights. So we've got the 2 top headlights there, and then a nice bright one there. And then we've got tail lights there, and that is the same on both ends. And everywhere else along the loco, there's just detail everywhere. You have to be really, really careful with these locos, especially not to get your grubby fingerprints on them. That'd be a good start. If I try and hold it gently down by the fuel tank here, there we go. Yeah, there's loads of detail. There's loads of detail on the bogies. You have to be really careful with those, to be honest, that you don't damage any of the detail. Those bogies don't actually want to turn very much. I think the fuel tank might be getting in the way, but I reckon it should be fine once it's on the track. Yeah, she should be fine. It might just be the couplings as well, because if we just gently turn her upside down, we can see there where the couplings are, and they are, I believe they are spring-loaded couplings as well. We've got a chain link coupling there as well. If I try and move that out of the way, there we go. So we can see there is a NEM pockets there. Well, I suppose the NEM pocket should be there. It's the NEM pockets, by the looks of it, was in the detail bag, but that should just slot into there, and then we can put a nice, hopefully I'll probably just put a nice slimline tension knot coupling in there into one end, so that she can haul some stock. I have to be quite careful about those because I don't tend to like loco mounted couplings very much. I find for a start they just feel really delicate, and that they're going to break off really easily. And also I find that they can cause derailment sometimes. I haven't had many issues of derailments with loco mounted couplings on my other locos, but I definitely prefer couplings that attach to the bogies themselves. For a start, they feel stronger, and I find they just tend to be a bit more reliable. But hopefully we should be fine there. And one thing I've noticed is there's loads of oil on the base keeper plates there. Is it the same on the other bogie? Yes, it is. So there's quite a lot of oil there. So I'll probably give that a clean off before we get her running in. But at least we know that there should be plenty of lubrication on there. Now, while we've got her upside down, which wheels are actually driven? So that's driven, that's driven, and that's driven, and then that's driven, that's driven, and that's driven. So okay, so we've got all-wheel drive on this loco, which strangely enough is not realistic for this type of loco. In real life, I'm pretty sure the centre axles on these locos were not driven from the engine. So the fact that Hornby have actually made those driven on this model, to be honest, I can kind of see why, because it would probably be quite difficult to actually get gears from the worm gear down to these two axles without interfering with the centre axle here. Although I suppose they could have just not put a gear on this centre axle and then just have the general gear train going down to the outer axles. So to us it's not too bad they've given her all-wheel drive, because at least she'll have plenty of strength, although it's not incredibly realistic, but I suppose we can forgive them for that. And overall, the livery application is really good. You can see her number there, 31452. Again, this loco is still in existence. Again, where she is, I'm not too sure. We can see there's a bit of information there. So it looks like we've got, so that will display like how much the loco weighs, its top speed, and other things like that. But unfortunately, the camera on my phone can't unfortunately get close enough without it going blurry. We've got the DCR logo there. Again, that looks very good. And then we've also got the lettering there, British American Railway Services. On the roof, again, plenty of detail. So we've got a nice fan there. On the older versions of these models, that fan is driven by the motor. However, on these versions, I'm pretty sure that fan is not driven. However, when we take the body off, we can find out if it is driven or not, but I'm pretty sure it isn't. And apart from that, there isn't much other roof detail, to be honest. Although I've just noticed we have got some nice handrails here on the top. They're quite nice and they feel fairly sturdy as well. And if we spin the loco around and go to the other side and go to the other end, again it's just as nice, and it looks like the cable on this end. Oh no. Okay, so the cables on both ends haven't fared very well, so I'll probably have to remove both of those. However, that's fine for me, to be honest. But we have got the chain link coupling on this end as well. But again, I'll probably have to take that off one end as well, because otherwise that will interfere with the coupling that will go in the NEM pocket. We've also got some nice handrails on the ends as well. They feel quite nice. I'm pretty sure they are made of plastic though, so they feel... Actually, no, I think they are made of metal. I think they are made of metal. But I can't really tell that much because they feel a little bit flimsy, but I think they are actually made of metal. So that's quite nice. We've also got some warning signs there to warn of overhead cables, because there could be overhead cables there, not all the time, but there can be. And she does have opening doors, which is a nice feature. So if you wanted to, if you've got some sort of depot layout, you could put the loco into a siding, and if you wanted to, you could take the spring out from one of the doors, and you could leave it open permanently, and you could put a driver or a member of railway staff looking like they're getting in and out of the cab. That can look quite good on a layout. And we've got some nice windows, and we can see through one of them. We can see through the window there. However, on this one, we can just see into the circuit board and everything there. Actually, no, I think that's the mounting for the for the fan there, which is what we can see there. And I believe that's also what we can see through there as well, but at least we can see through one of the windows, so that's better than nothing. We've got some nice grills as well. I believe they are, I think they're etched, I'm not too sure. It looks like they're separately fitted. Whether they are, I'm not too sure. Underframe detail is okay. Again, the bogies are quite nicely detailed. Nothing feels like it's going to drop off. The fuel tank area is fairly basic, quite bland to be honest. But it's okay, I suppose. These sort of areas, well, apart from the odd few warning signs and stuff, they're not usually the most detailed. Yeah, overall, she's not too bad. I can't fault her, to be honest. It's a shame we've got a little bit of damage to the cablings, but to be honest, these bits of detail are very delicate, and to be honest, I don't tend to fit them to any of my locos. Usually, I don't have much luck fitting these, but yeah, apart from those details, she's not too bad. She is a very nice model, plenty of weight, plenty of detail, and hopefully, he says, she should run quite nicely. So let's put her on the track. Well, we'll put her on the track, see if she works for a start, just see how she runs on DC. And then we'll come back in part 2, we'll fit her with a decoder and get her pulling some coaches. But anyway, let's head over to the layout and see what she's like. Okay, so here we are over the layout, and very quickly, before we put the loco on the track, before we got to this point I suppose, I have just quickly fitted a coupling to one end of the loco, so at least she can now put some stock on the layout once she's finished running in everything. Then at the other end, I have left the chain link coupling on and everything, so at least she's got one, well I suppose semi-detailed end, then one end I've designated for pulling. So what I'll do is I'll put her on this way around actually, so at least we've got the detailed end on the camera, and if I just put her on, it should be fairly simple to do. Well, there's quite a few wheels to get on. There we go. Nice and easy actually. If I just move the camera slightly closer as well. The controller's plugged into the layout. Again, I do only use the standard Hornby train set controller. Because I obviously run DC quite rarely on this layout, there's no point for me really investing in a quite high quality DC controller, as I'll very rarely use it, so there's no point in me really investing in one. And the Hornby train set controllers, whilst they are cheap and they're not the best, for me they're perfectly fine. They control locos quite smoothly, and overall they're perfectly suitable for me since I do rarely run DC. But anyway, she's on the track, she's ready to go. Let's give her some power and see what happens. Wow, that was really smooth actually. Again, I'm not sure how long it's been since this loco's ran, but I reckon that was its first movement, I suppose, in quite a long time. And that was really good. Let's come towards the camera again. Oh, look at those lights. Wow, really good. And they actually look like all of the lights were on there. I'm not sure if they should be. If I just bring her back the other way again. Maybe she doesn't have tail lights. Oh, yes, she does. Oh, okay, that was a bit squeaky there. Oh, let's move the chair out of the way. There's a chair in the way. There we go. Okay, that was actually a bit squeaky in that direction. Let's just get her going in that direction again. Just give her a bit more power for a bit longer. Okay, and when she squeaks there, she did slow down a bit. I'm not sure if something's wrong there. If we just get her going back this way again. Sounds like something's catching there. Something not quite right. But in that direction she seems fine, but in this direction, a bit squeaky and a little bit slower. That's quite strange to be honest, I'm not sure what that is. But we'll get her running in anyway, and we'll see if that improves with some running in. So I'll get running in, and then I'll see you guys in part 2.